Dobra, oglądamy zapowiedź ligi, ale się jaram.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2.
Dobra.
Welcome to GGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's
Są
live stream,
dropy.
so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below. Okay, so with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the
Trailerek,
Ancients.
let's fucking go! Kurwa, tak lubię tą wysmakowaną stylistykę zwierzeń. Jakich aborygeńskich chyba to jest, nie? Pomieszane z jakimiś azteckimi? Kurwa, ta inspiracja jest fenomenalna. Nie ma napisów na Twitchu. Oho! Pa, wstają jak obrońcy świątyni w gotiku. Nowy Uber. Nowy Endgame Quest, okej. Ty kurwa, tam w ogóle cała część mapy była zasłonięta. 30 nowych map endgame'owych, zajebiście. W ogóle ładnie wyglądają, patrz jaką mają perspektywę. New Arbiter! Aaaa! Jest! Ritual dostał reworka. O kurwa, to ciekawe, jak teraz będzie wyglądał. Pinnacle boss nowy, w ogóle kurwa z Rituala. Z Rituala, z tych bossów zawsze były takie zajebiste, unikatowe itemki, nie? Ciekawe co teraz będzie. Ja pierdolę, moja ulubiona mechanika, kurwa Genesis 3, jak zwiększona. Bridge reworkowany. No też wiem, że gram Bridge'a, kurwa, bo uwielbiam tą mechanikę tego drzewa. Delirium zreworkowane? Czy oni wszystkie mechaniki stare zreworkowali? Nowy Pinnacle Boss, kurwa, to Delirium. Runes of Aldur. Ty, to może być jakaś mechanika z wsadzaniem jakichś itemów w ploty, nie? Ale runy na mapie. Mogą być jakieś ciekawe softboots, nie? Sorry, ja nie zobaczyłem, to jest nowy boss z ekspedycji? Explore the Ocean, o kurwa, Atlas na wodę wchodzi. Oho, Elden. Z ekspedycji Pinnacle. Ale kurwa, będzie endgame'owego kontentu. Ty, to trzeba boss killera zrobić jakiegoś. Atlas klasy? Co kurwa? Będziesz wybierał specjalizację w Atlasie? Abyssowy Atlas? 15 nowych bossów? Nowy drzewko, kurwa, w Atlasie jest jak jakimś papingiem normalnym, kurwa. Spirit Walker. Nowa ascendancja dla Amki. Dla Monka! Nowa ascendancja. O kurwa, ty patrz. Bamę taką tworzy. 40 nowych uników, wyklona jakiegoś swojego. Ale zajebiste są te efekty. Jezu, jak ja po Diablo 4 tego potrzebowałem. Ty, a... Nie gadaj, że nie ma kurwa mieczy. Nie gadaj, że nie ma nowej klasy. Nie hypuj się, bo ta roadmapa na 15 lat rozwoju.
So as you can see, there's just so much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now, we promised that this one was going to revamp the endgame, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But first, we've got to talk about the League. So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to
że oni nie mają jakiegoś teamu, który wprowadza nową klasę, tylko dodają po prostu cały czas content do gry. I ascendancję wokół działających klas.
we also release a new league. Not
wiem,
only do
czemu
we
oni
have
to
a new
robią.
economy, but we also introduce new content through the campaign,
Mi się
which gives
wydaje,
you
że
a
oni
fresh
chcą na
play
1.0
experience
po
right from
prostu
the start of
zrobić
the
kilka
game,
klas od
as well as
razu.
new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses. In the Runes of Elder League, you will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell.
Ale oni nie wydadzą 1.0 w tym roku,
After
kurwa.
saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith
Na
trying
pewno
to bring
po
back the ancient art
0.5
of
będzie
Ezomite runesmithing.
0.6 jeszcze, nie? Gdzieś po
He has been
wakacjach.
collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing
I
works.
musieliby na koniec grudnia,
By inscribing
albo
symbols
no
on
na
these
koniec
ancient
grudnia by
Ezomite
musieli
remnants,
0.7
you can
zdążyć.
create all manner of old magics.
Nie będzie w tym roku 1.0.
Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent power, making for a difficult fight.
Okej, fajne, wychodzą moby od razu, zajebiście, nie wchodzisz jakiś kurwa portal do innej lokacji.
After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business, and he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to
Currency w
discover
ogóle
these
leci z tego.
secrets.
Ciekawe, czy to
He
przypadek,
lends
czy
you his
nie.
tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you return to him. In each area in the Runes of Elder League, you will find a remnant, and as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in. Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic. For example,
O
if you
kurwa.
combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation.
Ale będzie kurwa currency drukowane. To już kurwa widzę w jaką to jest. Nie, to trzeba na kampanii napierdalać to fest, nie?
But be careful. The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will
Dobrze,
be
ta
revived as
animacja jest
undead to fight
jednorazowa.
again with different properties depending on what runes you used.
Pytanie, czy będzie tak jak
So,
zawsze, że
if you use a
wypuszczą
fire rune in your
mechanikę.
recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire.
Na początku ludzie będą przez 2 dni narzekać,
if you
że
use a
chujowa,
moon
że
rune,
nic nie leci, po
lunar
czym ją
beams will
zbustują,
rain
okaże
down
się,
as
że
you fight
będziesz
the
printował tu
monsters.
kurwa mirory. Ty, ale to buildy, które stoją w miejscu, robią rozpierdol nawet jeszcze wcześniej, tu będą świetne. Jakiś kurwa spark i takie rzeczy, nie? Coś, co może zespamować re. Coś, co jest dobre na ten.
After the fight, break the remnant to receive the item you crafted.
Kurwa,
As
ale
you
mi
get
z głowy
higher
wyleciało,
level,
na
you will
esencję.
start to find remnants with more slots for more runes, allowing
Okay,
you to craft
runy.
rarer items. As the number of slots increases though, more waves of monsters will be added,
Bardzo dobrze,
with
kurwa,
each
im
wave
więcej,
being
tym lepiej.
empowered by more and more of the runes. And this can get pretty dicey, because some of the runes can have powerful effects.
Patrz, ile kurwa to jest w ogóle rzeczy na ziemi, nie? Delirium, co to kurwa jest?
Like the Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader, spawning waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it.
Ja pierdolę, kurwa, Czemu oni kurwa takie rzeczy dają do tej gry? Te jakieś systemy kurwa tarczy. Jak ja tego nienawidzę. Greater Chaos.
Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6,
Ty, no dobra, ale...
7, or even 8 runes.
Ale ty te runy zbierasz? Bo ja nie rozumiem
But
tego.
don't worry, you won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing
Ale
runes
ty
that
masz
are already
nauczone
on
te
the
runy.
remnant.
To po prostu
To
klikasz, czym
expand
to
your knowledge
zapełnić.
and to allow you to craft more items, Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclost. He wants to document anything you find in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezomite runesmiths of old.
Okej, czyli musisz się ich nauczyć
The first of these can be found in Ogham
i potem możesz je
and reveals
uzupełniać.
to you an ancient secret, buried deep underground.
Nie
The
jest
runic
to
magic
te runy,
which
co
the
wkładasz
Ezomites
do
believe
itemu.
to be their own is actually of Kalguran origin. Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclass to find sources of verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more verisium, he will be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you runic ward, the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times.
Aha.
Runic ward is a new resource that
Ale jak
protects you
masz...
from death.
Jaki masz wpływ na to?
Should you run out of
Na
life,
outcome crafta?
your runic ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return.
Co,
It
kurwa?
effectively acts as an extra life pool. Of course, should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die.
Jezu, to gracze hardcora chyba...
Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques. Some are just a strict upgrade, giving runic ward with no downside. Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get
Aha,
a
ty
much
tylko
larger amount of runic
Afix
ward.
dodajesz taki, kurwa, ukryty?
There are
Zmieniasz
even some
bazę?
that add new modifiers to uniques entirely, making them much more viable for higher level play. But the Kalgurans use runic ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics. Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans used runes of power and fueled them with runic ward. Many of the options available from remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively
skille.
spend runic ward to wreak havoc. An example is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern.
O
You
kurwa.
can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself,
O kurwa.
or with something you target at a distance, like Comet. There
Boże,
are also
custom
skills
crit,
to modify
kurwa,
existing
Comet z tym.
effects using runic magic, like Frost Flame Nova. Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies
Pytanie, ile tych
will
run się
transform
zdobywa,
the
nie?
ignite
Tego run
into
warda,
Frostfire,
kurwa.
both burning them and building up freeze at the same time. You have basic buffs like Hollow Shell that guards all nearby allies, to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion that creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending mana, like skill gems do, all these skills cost runic ward.
Ja nie wiem, mi
And
Pidża musi
unlike
build
gems,
zrobić,
they
nie?
don't have a color. This means that they don't care about attribute requirements or what kind of weapon you use. These skills are
Albo
designed to
rok,
be used
albo
on
rok,
any
no.
class, and so often interact with mechanics that apply across many characters.
Zajebiście to wygląda.
By combining different runes together, the Kalgurans were able to support their runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems in interesting ways. Concussive Runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that stuns,
Okej.
while Runic Infusion lets you spend ward to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too, that unlock even more interesting crafting methods.
Ciekawe, czy gracze HC użyją tych nowych supportów, jak to
Buried deep in the
zużywa
jungle in Act 3, you can find the
Rune
Mystic
Warda, który
Refuge,
może być twoją defensywą.
containing even
Bo
more
rozumiem,
secrets
że
for
możesz,
Pharaoh to learn from.
że on ci się ładuje, albo go możesz zużyć do jakiegoś skilla,
Using this knowledge,
albo może
it
być
gains the
częścią warstwy
ability to
defensywnej.
reforge unique weapons. With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly
O
more
kurwa.
damage.
Low
Now,
level uniki
we've been able to
zwiększasz.
take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers,
O
but were
kurwa.
not in-game viable,
Bardzo
and
dobrze.
give them a bit of a boost
Bazy
to get there.
ulepszasz. To w
And it's
Diablo
not
2.
just low-level uniques.
Zajebiste.
All Kalguran uniques are able to be runeforged
Chcę
this way
zobaczyć
too.
teraz, jakie
And they
uniki
can do
mają
some
fajne
pretty
rzeczy na
interesting
sobie,
things.
fajne jakieś rolki.
Like Searle's Grit, a new unique, which when runeforged can get one of several different outcomes. Now, there is still so much more that you
zajebiste.
can craft with remnants. There are also 100 new runes, as well as many other new crafting currencies. This is the runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For
Czyli to-
example, this elemental conversion rune will convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to another.
O kurwa.
Using it, you could combine a weapon with all 3 elemental damage mods into a single element, making a weapon with massive amounts of cold damage.
Ty, a co z napisami wtedy, bo się zmniejszyły? Myślicie, że zdejmują sloty, czy nadal to możesz craftować, kurwa?
To turn them into a dual socket on your item. And there are even
chyba nie będzie
crafting meta
możliwe do
runes
crafta.
that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting.
Ty czaisz?
For
Szukasz,
example,
kurwa, broni,
this
która ma
rune of chronomancy
3
will
typy i
unlock a
potem...
set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once placed inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation.
Jezu, kurwa.
You can also create a new type of
Ty,
currency
to jest
called
namiastka
alloys.
tych nowych
Using
afiksów.
regular metals
Wkładasz
alloyed
runę i
with
wtedy masz
Verisium,
nowe afiksy.
new modifiers
Jakieś
not normally
Eldritch mody,
available
taka
can be
namiastka,
directly
nie?
crafted onto your items. Using
Że możesz
imbued
mieć
alloy could
inny
improve
typ
your
bazy,
element
który
damage,
ci
for
przeroluje
example.
nowe rzeczy. Zajebiście. Coś, czego bardzo
There are
brakowało w
honestly
tej
so
grze.
many options here that unlock all sorts of crazy crafting projects. So I think
Tylko
we
oni
will be
chyba chcą
experimenting
nadal,
with these for
żeby
a long time.
craftowanie było w takim
Once you
early
get to
game'ie na
King's
tyle
March in Act
deterministyczne, żeby nie
Pharaoh
wpierdolić tak po
finally
prostu
meets
tych
Danik,
wszystkich
a
afiksów.
real Kalguran
Więc
runesmith.
jest wymóg
And
jakiś
riddled
do
with
tego,
excitement,
bardzo
he wants to
konkretny.
learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he
Dobrze,
has
no,
found.
Bonkol po angielsku nawija.
From here on, Pharaoh joins in the Kalguran expeditions that Danik has been leading. With the ancient
Wątpię,
knowledge that
żebyś mógł
Pharaoh brings
zmienić
to the
runę,
table,
jakby jest
the
mniejszy
Kalguran
fiksy. To by
expeditions that
byłoby
Danik has been
sensu, byś
going on
musiał
will
mieć
change
runę włożoną na część
significantly.
craftu.
For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives, uncovering the buried dead, and recovering Verisium from them. By choosing where to place the explosives, you can choose which kind of challenges you would like to face, or rewards you would like to claim. But unlike before, expeditions now contain the remnants from Runes of Eldur, allowing you to do some specific crafts along the way using the new League crafting mechanic. One very important difference from the simple remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest of the encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities, but the rewards can be very worth it. Each mod on the monster is improving the items that they can drop.
Czemu na taką puściatę czerwoną? Nie było tego
Once you
efektu,
get to
nie?
the endgame, you will
Był.
find that the atlas has changed substantially. To the south, you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond. King's March has not fared well after the cataclysm, and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much more concerned about his wife, Gwenyn. He would like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her, and this begins a new major mechanic for expedition, exploring the ocean.
Previously, a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast, uncovering a range of islands to begin your search for
O
Gwenyn.
kurwa, jakie mapy
You can
fajne.
hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There are islands with expeditions, grand expeditions, new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find. Eventually, you will find the island that Gwenyn has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalguran, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you
A
can find
piżam już tam
inside.
głęboko nie oddycha, jak ekspedycja tak kurwa rozwinięta. Bo to jest z ekspedycją, nie?
Just a
Tylko z
shame that
logbookiem
Medved isn't
połączone.
as dead as you
Ta
previously
część,
assumed.
z tego co rozumiem.
Now, after you have defeated Medved, you will find another logbook. And this time you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore. The ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find.
Ja, spoko, nie?
With
Że
each
tak
logbook,
jakby
you
Atlas
can explore
jest
one
rozwiniętą
sector and you can
mechanikę.
go as deep as you like.
Czyli oni nadal chcą zamknąć wszystko w
There are
Atlasie,
all sorts of interesting objects to uncover
ale
and
załóżmy, że to
dungeons to
jest
explore.
unikalna dla jakiejś mechaniki
Many of the
część
islands have
Atlasu.
expeditions with totally new mechanics. So for example, Here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies. But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it. On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up, the more empowered and the more rewarding he will become. These islands contain all sorts of little secrets that you can find and blow up. Free trapped wisps, blow open root doors, even raise ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults to blow up, and one of them in particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker.
Ale ładnie się runy tam rozświetliły.
Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Verisium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby.
Kurwa, jaki efekt zajebisty.
On visiting it, you find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within. There is something growing in there, and it can't be anything good. In order to gain entry, Danik suggests that the Triskelion Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth, leader of the Knights of the Sun. Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside. Now, we're not going to spoil the boss, but one thing you should know is that the Verisium that makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia. Bringing this to Pharaoh and Danik should allow them to forge some objects of power, the creation of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on. To sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them. You can create more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And there are new quests added to the campaign to unlock even more new crafting options.
Ciekawe jestem, jak będą silne te runy.
Armors,
To jedynie czym się obawiam, że
upgrading uniques,
jeżeli to faktycznie wchodzi w sokety,
dozens of new Kalguran
to na
skills and
gisze
supports,
bardzo łatwo się uzupełniało resy,
tons of new
a jeżeli
islands
tych
to
nowych
discover
run
by
będzie
exploring the
dużo i one
ocean,
będą w niskich cenach i to będzie
5
coś, z
new
czego będziesz po
bosses,
prostu
including a
korzystał,
new pinnacle boss,
to nagle będzie trochę większy problem z resami, nie?
and a bunch of new uniques to top it off. But there is still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for that, I'll hand it back to Jonathan.
Now, as Mark hinted at before, the endgame atlas is very different now, and the ocean to the south is the least of the changes. The entire area around your starting location is now teeming with new quest lines and things to discover. Will you investigate the strange forest to the west, the cracks in the earth to the east, or perhaps visit the ruins of a Val city in the north? The atlas now has fixed points of interest at specific locations, giving you specific objectives that are easy to find. Like before though, no matter which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that though, something new happens. The earth shakes,
Oho,
and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth,
pokażę ci od razu portresa
a remnant of
nowego
the ancient precursor civilization.
w towerach. Będzie ci od razu podświetlać? Tak.
The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked. Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You will need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates. Gain the keys to reach these ancient precursor weapons.
Jezu, widzowie, szybko napiszcie, jaki jest optymalny build do robienia tego, bo
But this will be no easy
po
task.
jeden miałem zbyt tankowany build na Ubery, po dwa miałem zbyt dużo damage'a. Jakby ktoś w komentarzu napisał, jakie wartości w pobie muszę mieć, żeby godnie podnieść tego bossa.
Discover many new areas and uncover some dark secrets. Now, the Fortress is the first of the new full in-game storylines that we're adding in 050, and there's a lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool new mechanics as well. The areas inside the Fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant. Like this map, where all the rares are contained in essence crystals. Or this one, which replaces all monster packs in the area with strongboxes. Or this one, which spawns in as Merry Spirit that always moves on from a rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map.
O kurwa, ale możesz sobie wyboostować mapę. Ciekawe, czy wszystkie, muszą działać wszystkie wtedy modyfikatory z Atlasu, nie?
Now, just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the Fortress each contain precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree.
Zajebiście.
Now, we had an Atlas passive tree before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just wasn't up to scratch. The Atlas tree now works quite a lot differently. We have significantly upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree. Like this one, that gives a chance to make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time. There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways. Like this one, which lets Asmeri spirits possess strongboxes. All the regular monsters that come out of them are touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential.
Ciekawe co z życiem i z stakowaniem kurwa defensywy na
You
esie.
get points from every single area you complete in the fortress, and unlike before, that means you can
Zobaczcie w
allocate
ogóle
the
jaki duży
entire
jest ten
Atlas tree.
atlas, ale
Yes,
nadal
this whole tree
mechaniki
can be
są
yours.
osobno u siebie
This
zrobione w
change is pretty
progresji.
important, since it allows us to
Tam
be
na
able
dole.
to create many types of bonuses that we wouldn't have been able to create before. Like this one,
Zajebiście.
which gives a chance for cities to be invaded by another faction, and can even allow it to contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments.
O kurwa, nie
If we'd done this kind of thing in the old tree, we would have wanted to spec into it before running a city map, then unspec out of it before running anything else. With full allocation, we can have cool bonuses like these. Now obviously we still want to make sure that you have choices that define your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are
Tak,
now
no ten dodatek
multi-choice.
nie będzie nic
Everyone will
kosztował.
get the
W PoE
node,
update
but
są
which bonus you
darmowe.
choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences, summoning circles, or rogue exiles? But there's also nodes that contain more unusual things. So for example, on this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging,
dodatkowo
dropping
gdy
special
wchodzisz na
loot?
bossy, zajebiście.
Would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight?
Shriny działają na kurwa bossa, ale masz lepsze rewardy?
Now, I could probably
Ale
nerd out
kurwa
about cool
juice.
stuff in the tree all day, but we should probably get back to the fortress.
Upgrade'ujesz
Now,
sobie bossa
one of the really
shrinami.
important
Niezłe.
things we wanted to do was make it so that all the boss fights in the endgame are now accessible with a quest line. That means that to fight the Arbiter of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by finding keys. They will be in fixed locations and there's a quest to get them. But the Arbiter of Ash is no
O, nie
longer
ma
the pinnacle
szukania
of Path of Exile
przynajmniej.
2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the fortress.
Nie ma chyba w P2 tego shrina nieśmiertelność,
An
czy jest?
incredible challenge awaits you, should you choose
W
to go there.
jedynce był ten shrine taki, nie? Że cię zabić nie można. W tej poprzedniej lidze. Jest w dwójce
After the
też taki?
storyline, you still unlock keys for pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them. But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the middle of a fight and be able to take out both of them.
Oho,
Or a map
oho.
of champions that makes all the natural inhabitants of the area into magic monsters.
No, Blizzard by w chuj się zarobił na
Or
ten.
this one that causes all
Jakby to
shrines in the
rozwinął
area
3
to release as
dodatki.
merry spirits when
Ten
used.
patch. Kurwa, jeszcze
Once you've
jakieś
explored and found
profity
your
za
keys, you can return to
pre-order?
fight the pinnacle in the fortress again. But this version of him will be harder. And not only that, he will have new unique rewards as well. Each time you fight him, you get the ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress,
Kurwa,
and instead just race out into the
można
infinite
całą
Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points.
fortecę, po prostu
So
robić
that's the
bossa jak
origins of Divinity
najszybciej.
storyline. It's a huge amount of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle, with a bunch of new unique items. But not only that, it also completely revamps the Atlas tree and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress. But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas. Now earlier we talked about how the multi-choice nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an Ascendancy class for your passive tree. Why not an Ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in. Throughout Rayclass are many opportunities for those with the skills to find them. Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare and unique chests.
Okay.
Or make it so that all map bosses drop an additional unique item.
O kurwa.
Or make corrupted waystones have an additional modifier.
No to wiadomo, w co ludzie
But at
pójdą,
the cost of
kurwa.
making them send you to a totally unknown location. Each mission you complete for Jado will unlock another row of abilities and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize. But there are other masters too. For example, Hilda. Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclass and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach you her monster hunting skills,
Zobacz,
like
coś
this one,
kurwa,
which has a
system lepszy
25%
niż
chance to
Warplany,
upgrade
jeśli
any
chodzi
map
o
boss to a
wybieranie.
powerful version.
Co mógłby się
Or
robić?
this one, which makes his Marian spirits no longer possess rare monsters, making them go for the unique bosses in the area instead.
O kurwa,
You might
niezłe.
notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and
Zauważyliście,
downsides.
że oni bardzo
So
mocno
Hilda, for
nastawiają
example,
się
can
na
make it
to,
so that you
żeby
only get one
zwiększyć
attempt
siłę
at fighting pinnacle
bossów i
bosses.
żeby to bossy
But in
były tą
exchange for
nagrodą.
that, they always drop 2 uniques.
Dwa uniki,
Because of that, we
zawsze
wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what
bossa
you're doing.
unikatowego,
As you unlock each master, they will appear on
ale
the side
kurwa
of the
target
screen.
farming będzie
Simply
można
click
robić.
whichever one you want to use to run the map, and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will be activated. This allows you to have a few different strategies that you can quickly pick between, depending on what you're running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the endgame leagues we created when launching Early Access in 010 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or
11:46 jak to
Expedition, for
nagrywali.
example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines, but new mechanics, new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses. One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is that you can now find them on the Atlas in specific locations, and each one has a quest line that will lead you there to being able to complete the league, along with its Atlas tree and its pinnacle boss. This is true even for the leagues that we didn't do major redesigns to. So let's use Abyss as an example. When you first encounter one in the endgame, you'll get a quest that leads you to the east, where you will find these mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls. All the maps along the cracks will contain abysses with special properties, and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss Atlas tree. At the end of each Atlas abyss, you'll find an Abyssal Depths with the boss fight for one of the Abyssal factions, giving you a guaranteed way to fight them. And after completing all 3, you'll get a key for the Well of Souls, allowing you to fight the Vessel of Kulamak. This kind of thing makes an in-game league so much more friendly for new players, giving people obvious goals and a guided experience to complete them. Alright, so let's talk about the first of the upgraded leagues, Delirium, and its new storyline,
O,
The
to
Hare
ciekawe,
and the
co zrobią
Raven.
z Delirium.
As you may remember, during Act 4 you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster. Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his Delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox locked in a trance. His mind is trapped in one of Tangmazu's delusions, and you will need to free him. Once free, Elder Maddox demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features Delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of Delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into Delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the Delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind. For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the Delirium demons are enhanced, significantly more powerful, larger, and scarier in general, along with more rewards. Or should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your worst fears. If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it. Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him, and that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains Delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start. As you do Deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions can be used to instill amulets to add notable passive buffs to them, but in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well.
Że w PoE są cały czas te same buildy. W PoE są bardzo podobne startery, ale endgame'owe buildy to ludzie pojebane robią. Ci oglądałem, jak typ zrobił builda pod Blinka, który kosztował 11 na sekundę i robił sakemę w 5 minut, nie?
Once you've done enough Delirium encounters, the location of a grand mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm is revealed. But it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous empowered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness. In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind. A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume to fully embrace the madness in an attempt to reach the Raven Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind. At some point you enter a new layer. A simulacrum of your memories, twisted and perverted by the Raven Trickster. Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge.
A zajebiście wygląda, nie? O kurwa.
So, that's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a quest line, there are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights. But one question you might have is, what happens after? Well, once you've completed the story, grand mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing Delirium encounters. After doing the grand mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu. But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder. And not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later. After doing a grand mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important, because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by Delirium this way.
Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you can't get any other way. So for example,
Potent liquid melancholy is an emotion that can only come from human bosses and allows you to add a variety of on-hit effects.
Dokładnie
Also,
myśleliście o
you
tym,
might
że
want to try
oddać
instilling amulets with these emotions. They
więcej
could have some interesting effects with some
Żule
powerful
slotów?
notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage. But also notables from a clearly deranged mind, like Calm's Blessing. This skill allows you to ancestrally boost fire spells after using a Warcry. How about using an ancestral Flame Blast?
No kurwa, Warcry na sosce.
Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the league by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree.
No
But
to
this
jest
now
znowu
works
jakiś
in a
kurwa
much better
combo
way and has
gameplay
much cooler
wprowadzany.
effects. The maps in the Delirium area of the
Nowe
Atlas give
supporty,
you
które
Delirium passive points for
możesz raz
completing
na
them.
jakiś czas
So
aktywować
it's easy to
i ci
see
dają
how to
dodatkowy
progress.
efekt.
Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing
Znowu
you to
mam
more
wrażenie,
easily
że
get to
pchają
higher
trochę ideę
depths.
combo gameplayu, nie?
Or this one, which adds extra Delirium modifiers to monsters when you pick it up. There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels. And nodes that apply to the Atlas mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas. It also has new crafting system for jewels, and over 20 new unlockable notables for amulets. Not only that, but you have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items, and a massively
Nie ma
upgraded Atlas
sortów,
tree just
kurwa.
for Delirium.
Dobra, pokazuj
But there's
Breacha,
still a lot
kurwa.
more to come, so let's talk about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame,
Breach,
you'll find
kurwa,
Aleph,
najlepszy.
one of the Keepers of the Flame, an ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing
Breach,
the
kurwa,
Hiveborn from
najlepsza
entering the
mechanika w
world.
klasie.
As you seem to be a keen slayer of
Breachą
demons,
swoich, kurwa,
Aleph would
bossów,
like to
swoich
recruit you to the
protektorów.
order and asks that you travel to their monastery to the south. On the way there, you'll start to encounter more breaches, and will notice one
Tam
of
mnie
the first
interesuje
changes
tylko.
to the breach mechanic. You still have to kill monsters as fast as you can to keep the breach open, but now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration. Once you've reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold in the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge,
O
and the
kurwa.
Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree,
O.
a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy and
Yes.
gifted to the Keepers by the Dreamer himself.
To jest tak zajebista
Using the
mechanika.
tree, Aleph could create a breach stone and penetrate the Hiveborn foothold, but without Hive blood, the tree has withered. To get Hive blood, you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of breach. If you can keep the otherworldly
Ty, a
portal
był
open for long
Genesis
enough,
Tree w PoE
the
2
breach
już,
will
czy nie?
stabilize
Czy on
and will
z
enter a
jedynki
new
był?
phase. The Hiveborn will send their toughest miscreations to defeat
Nie
you,
było,
and the
nie?
breach will not close until you can annihilate them, dropping Hive blood that you can use to restore the Genesis Tree.
W jedynce, no.
In some cases, you may even
On był
attract one of the
broken, nie? Go
deadliest foes the
wprowadzili. Nie grałem
Hiveborn can
Ligę, go
offer,
wprowadzili.
a
Nie grałem
Marshal of
następną.
Zesht. These monsters also drop womb gifts, and if you take these to the Genesis Tree, they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the
Najlepsze,
Hiveborn.
kurwa, gifty.
Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle, it learns and expands its abilities. When you first
takie
open the
jak w
Genesis
jedynce
Tree,
ułożone
you'll
identycznie.
notice these holes
Zajebista.
into which you can place your womb gifts.
Ja pierdolę, jak wielkie
Each
jest to
womb
drzewo.
gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry and must be fertilized with hive blood.
A poczekaj,
So for
tylko
example,
jewelry?
you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree, and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis tree is capable of much more. As you continue to feed the tree, its branches will regenerate and allow you more and more control over what kind of
Aha.
items it will birth.
Musi się pierwsze
So for
nakarmić i
example,
regenerować.
this branch of the tree will allow you to control which base types of amulets can be
Troszkę
birthed.
rozszerzyli, nie?
And as you go deeper, it will
Kurwa,
even
nie
allow you
mogę.
to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else.
Kurwa, jest 10-krotnie większe.
Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free.
O kurwa.
Or this one, which has a rune socket in it.
No
To the
zobacz.
left and right are branches that will let you control which mods the amulet can get,
No, drzewko
including
Breacha
making
jest
sure that
większe
they're
niż
high
kurwa
level.
skill tree w Diablo 4.
or controlling which specific mods that they will always have.
I to nawet chyba wszystkich klas połączonych kurwa razem.
With 15 points to allocate, you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts. But it's worth noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable or disable the nodes at any
O,
time by
zajebiście, nie
clicking
ma
on.
kosztu. Możesz targetować
On
krafty
rings,
po
we've
to, co
also
jest ci
added some really
potrzebne. Na
interesting new
SSF-a
crafting options as
zajebiste.
well.
W takim
You
razie,
have a
nie?
bunch of new base types like these, but you also have entire new classes of mods that can be added. The right-hand branch of the ring tree adds an entire new set of caster mods to rings. From basics like extra elemental damage for spells,
Ty, ale...
or more niche options like this mod that increases the rate you
Poczekaj,
gain
kurwa, ja
sealed
dobrze
for
rozumiem,
Unleash.
dodają Genesis, który będzie miał nowe mody, kurwa, na itemach, których nie było?
And on the left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters.
Ja pierdolę, kurwa, tak.
This stuff is actually pretty important, because casters and minion builds didn't have as many slots with interesting item crafting compared to attack builds.
Ja
The
pierdolę,
Genesis tree
tak,
narrows
oni
that gap.
naprawiają największy problem,
There are
kurwa,
also trees for
aktywizacji w
belts.
PoE.
And currency. I won't go over them
Dobra,
too much here,
currency.
but there are all sorts of goodies in these too. Like being able to create new catalysts for jewels, or a belt that gives lightning damage.
Ty, ale, kurwa, lightning damage na pasku.
Once you've done enough breach encounters, you may finally get a womb gift capable of birthing a breach stone.
Jest, jest, kurwa.
And you can then use it on the Hiveborn incursion.
Ale zajebiście.
Once used, the true extent of the Breach Demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well. When you enter the outskirts of their realm, you will discover breach hives. Using the power of the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each one destroyed, more of the Hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive. These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are the sky hives deeper into the domain. These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into
No,
our
to jest
world.
PoE, nie? Powiedz, że
Inside
mechanika
the very
wychodzenia jest
center are
kurwa
the Breach
lepsza.
Lords Tool and Ash, and you'll need to defeat them if you want to get rid of the foothold once and for all. Now, once you've completed the questline version, there is still more to do. You will
Mini-bossik
find
tam
other
będzie?
breach domains on the
Dzięki
atlas
Rafik.
randomly in your travels. For each one, you will need to find a breach stone, destroy the sky hives, and defeat the breach lords.
Okej, no mini-bossik jest.
And doing these encounters is what will give you access to fight Zesht, the existing breach pinnacle boss, which you can access by communing with the Dreamer himself inside the monastery. While completing the questline for Breach, you will also be gaining points for the Breach Atlas tree, and there are a lot of cool new options here. This node will cause breach hives to spawn outside of the Hiveborn domains on the Atlas,
Dole, pa. Bonus mapy se kurwa bafujesz.
and this one will give Aelith additional abilities that you can use while attacking a hive,
A to. Wyjebane.
like this one, which causes all Hiveborn in the next wave to be magic,
O
drastically
kurwa, a
increasing their
jednak nie.
difficulty in exchange for way more items.
Ale tego nie było w PoE 1,
There
kurwa,
are
to były
also
same
nodes that
rzeczy
allow you
do
to control
klikania
your rewards,
defensywne.
like this one,
A
which
teraz
adds a
se
set of
możesz
new lineage
zwiększyć
supports to
siłę,
the
kurwa,
Marshal of
mobu.
Zesht.
Zajebiste.
Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get.
Kurwa. Targetujesz
There's
mu
also some
gifty.
nodes that affect the Genesis tree, like this one, which will cause Zesh to drop his head, which when returned to the Genesis tree, will grow a grasping orchid on the side of it. You'll have to experiment to find out what this thing is good for. Putting rings on its fingers seems to make it happy.
Oho.
So that's a rundown of what you can expect from the new Breach questline. There's a new
Breachowe ringi
stabilization
będą
mechanic for
zbierane.
breaches, hive encounters, and Hiveborn incursions on the Atlas. But you also have a huge new crafting system and new bosses as well.
Stary, czaisz, że kurwa
Alright, so let's talk about the
tu
right and
każda
the nameless
pojedyncza
storyline next.
mechanika ma
When you
bardziej
first
złożony
complete a
kurwa
ritual in the
update niż
endgame,
płatny
Aoife,
dodatek
a
Diablo
lost
4.
spirit, will appear. She appears to need your help, but isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood. Like the other leagues, Ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home. The Wildwood could be found to the west. When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in,
Naprawdę, diablo
where you will
nie
discover that
no.
inside the Wildwood, spirits can take physical form.
Szołacy, halo.
Aoife has been bound to this place by the King in the Mists, and requests that you free her. But in order to do so, you will need her body, currently in possession of the King.
Chyba
To
przecież
reclaim
zawsze
it,
jesteś
you'll need to
synem
gain an
swojej
audience
matki,
with
nie?
her. Inside the Wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you, and killing the monsters will give you tribute. In addition, each ritual you do in the area will add the monsters from the previous ritual,
Jest
making the
filter
encounters much
do
more challenging the
rytuałów
more
PoE2?
rituals you complete. Once you've completed them, spend your tribute to get items. Now, an important change to the rewards of Ritual is that all the items in the reward window are now uniques or omens, making this league's rewards much more valuable than before.
Ja pierdolę, tylko uniki,
In
kurwa,
order
i
to gain an
omeny.
audience with the Nameless King, you need to sacrifice tribute to him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar.
I kurwa,
Once you have enough tribute for
nadliczbowy
an
tribut
audience,
jest też
return to the
sensowny.
Wildwood to divine his location with the Nameless Shrine.
Ale zajebiście, kurwa,
His location
przerorowane.
will be revealed deeper in the Wildwood, and
Czyli
you
nie
will need to
siedzi.
make your way to
Kurwa, ja
him
na przykład rytuału nie grałem, bo
kill
zbyt
him.
dużo czasu przeglądania itemów mi zajmowało. Mnie to wkurwiało, nie?
and get Aoife's body. Using her body, you can attempt to release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The Wildwood is
Zajebisty
built on
rytuał.
top of an
Nie wiem,
ancient
czy wy też
prison.
tak mieliście, że
The King in the
rezygnowaliście z
Mists didn't gain
rytuału,
his
bo
power out of
przeglądanie
nowhere.
itemów was
He was
przytłaczało.
granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing the prison to weaken. In order to prevent the Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison and beat him back, but those with a name are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Rite of the Nameless. The rite will begin in a nearby forest. At first, it appears to be a regular ritual encounter, but that will soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss,
Małpa.
and defeating him will give you a piece of the effigy onto which you will transfer your name. But the ritual is still not complete. Once the map boss is defeated, the atlas will open, and you will need to pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual. During the rite, each adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you. So for example, if you go in this direction, you gain significantly more tribute. But if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added as rewards. So in this case, you'll have to choose if you want to get 5 Chaos Orbs or a Mage Blood. A difficult decision, I'm sure.
Aha, no
Now,
kurwa,
as this is
totalnie.
one continuous ritual, the encounters in the next map won't start from scratch.
No to
They
właśnie,
contain all the monsters that were gathered from the
połowa
rituals of
ludzi
the
zobaczyła,
previous
że
map
z
as well,
rytuału może z
making
mapy
them
dostać
harder
mieć
and
blada.
harder. And that includes
Już
the
wiemy,
map
co będą
boss
ludzie
too.
grać.
You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still doesn't end
Ej,
there.
bardzo kurwa ten.
Pick another map, another reward, and add another map boss to continue until the ritual of the Nameless is complete.
Po
It will take
twarmieniu
5 maps in
uników,
all, and will be an
Aha.
incredible challenge.
5 bossów.
But once complete, you can return to the Wildwood to perform the final rite. Transfer your name to the effigy, adorn the crown of the Nameless King, and enter the prison.
Jak będziesz mieć blat w PoE2.
Now, of course, once the pinnacle boss is complete, the
Nie
league
wiem,
doesn't end
kurwa,
there.
nawet jakby ci regen dawał cały czas, to chuj
As you do
mocne.
rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to the King in the Mists for another
Chuj wie.
audience.
No, to dalej będziesz
Pick
blada.
another forest to begin the rite of the Nameless once more,
Ciekawe jak działa.
and this time with a harder pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree. Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to unlock some pretty cool nodes. Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration. You thought fighting 5 map bosses at once was hard? How about 6? Or this
Fajne.
one, which makes maps during the rite have more reward mods, often having 2.
Kurwa, ale każda mechanika
You
wokół,
also have
w
nodes that
sensie,
allow things to combine
zrobienia
with
tych
other
bossów.
content, like this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be
Znaczy,
created
elementem się
inside
wydaje.
summoning circles, adding a random boss to
Tak
the
jakby
ritual
pchali
encounter.
ten taki solsowy kombat, nie?
There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the audience with the queen, which causes the bride of the king to sometimes appear. Okay, so that's ritual.
But let's have a look at what this means for endgame content as a whole for Path of Exile 2.
When you include the expedition changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new in-game storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame, and goals with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each in-game questline has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas screen at any time that shows you how far through you are, and buttons that will take you to the hubs for them. Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to complete. But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete this league. These are called challenges after all. Where are all the challenges? Well, players of Path of Exile 1 will be used to the fact that each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's time to change that. If you're able to complete them, you'll earn pieces of the Knight of Alder armor set. Opening the challenge screen will show you a series of 8 challenges. After completing each one, anyone in chat or in the forums will be able to see your prowess. In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing anyone you trade with how many challenges you've completed. You'll earn the first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return of the Ancients. But what about some new tools to fight against these new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new ascendancy classes as well, but to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
As Jonathan said, we have 2 new classes to show you today, the Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist. Let's start with the Huntress's new class, the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits. She is able to infuse the power of multiple spirits at her choosing. On the bottom part of the class, you will find paths for each wisp you would like to commune with. Be they primal, vivid, or wild. Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear. Each ability gives you a method to become possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you speak. The stag allows you to summon stampedes when you attack. The owl grants boons in the form of their feathers, which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of your next skill. And the bear simply summons a giant bear companion to your side. The bear will maul, slam, leap, and do intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps, but if you want to combine all 3 of them, then a new hidden power will be unlocked, the power of the Sacred Wisps. This node is free and enhances the quality of all 3 of your spirit animals. Your bear will take some of the damage you take and grant you life regeneration. Your stags will become more aggressive, leaping towards enemies, and your owl-empowered skills will leave a trail of soaring ground behind them. But that's not all. The Spirit Walker has other powers beyond wisps. Such as Idolatry, which can give you large bonuses for using idol socketables in your equipment. And this one, which is my absolute favorite. The Spirit Walker, having attuned herself with nature, can gain the ability to tame beast bosses, opening up a whole suite of very cool options for your build. Maybe you tame the mighty Silverfist in the jungle depths. Or maybe a 3-headed chimeral beast in the chimeral wetlands.
Jezu, jak się nazywała ta liga w PoE 1, co miałeś tych kurwa mertów, co tym nagle cały ekran wodą zalewał i był taki OP.
There's so many choices. You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion. Next up, we have the Monk's new Ascendancy class, the Martial Artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the 7 Hollow techniques. Channeling Hollow Form technique allows the Martial Artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing. Perfect for turning skills with less area of effect into ones that can obliterate paths with ease. Should you find yourself overly vulnerable while channeling, you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes you to be covered in stone when you immobilize enemies, mitigating large amounts of damage. This can even enhance your attacks too. By hardening your weapon in stone, you can deal even more damage. After taking Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects.
Teraz znowu
In
to
this
coś
case,
zrobione.
bells,
To masz 3
which will
takie...
appear around the martial artist and can be shattered by any of his attacks, even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier. Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all enemies around you. Through all the martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians. By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes. There is one that counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots.
Kurwa, ale dobry na start ligi, że resy
Finally,
pierdoli.
your hands. The ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit.
Fajne, no, glowsy.
Now, when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone, and not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield, they now also grant a lot more damage, some maximum resistances, and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies.
Ja chcę chyba tym zagrać.
With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers and gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can come up with. Now, with so many new bosses in Return of the Ancients, of course we want to have a huge number of unique rewards. There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them. Twisted Empyrean is a two-handed mace made from the purest of verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all of your mace's skills fire damage to cold, and visually does so too, turning your volcanic fissures into glacial ones. This mace also comes with its own built-in skill, Starborn Onslaught. Using Glory, you can leap backwards, throwing your mace at the ground, creating verisium fissures, before calling behind it a storm of cold metallic bolts from the stratosphere. Next, we have Eventide Petals, an amulet that not only grants runic ward, but also comes with its own reservation skill, Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic petals that hover around you. Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will be consumed, creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it.
To jest unik nowy? O kurwa, ty na kasę kryta meteora.
The Raven's Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters. Not only does it grant spirit reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict grueling madness on hit, slowing enemies and making all other slows on them more powerful, for maximum crowd control. That's not where this item shines though. It grants a skill called Spiraling Conspiracy. This skill causes a flock of ravens to circle you, dealing damage over time to anything near them. Killing enemies, or just by standing near unique enemies, causes the flock to grow, getting larger and larger.
Kurwa, skill.
For your PoE 1 players,
no skill build.
You can think of this just like a Raven Righteous Fire. That's not all, however. These ravens are also minions, so they fully scale with minion damage and come with their own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage between a set of illusory mirrors, obliterating anything in between. Horror's Flight is a pair of gloves instilled with the purest of fear. Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you. These gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear. This is similar to the monk skill Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically based on the power of the enemy. As you use this, gain your stacks of Fear Incarnate, which increases your culling threshold, meaning enemies become easier and easier to cull, even to the point of being able to
Duże to
instantly kill some
małe.
monsters
Ciekawe
from
jak
full
kurwa
life.
idzie to nastakować. Myślę, że to cały
Sylvan's
ten będzie
effigy is a
wybuchał.
scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types, instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian wolf companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies. Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you. Liminal Coil is a crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will have no effect. What's the point then? 2 reasons. Firstly, your spells gain a bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies. Secondly, is the skill it grants called Coiling Bolts. This skill is a projectile spell that fires coiling physical and chaos projectiles with every cast.
To kurwa
What
fajne.
makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy,
Jezu, to
causing
podcastem
an
kryta,
absolute
kurwa.
ruckus. See for yourself.
Patrz jak to kurwa strzela zamiast sparka.
Periphery is a unique
Trigger
bow,
inny.
which utilizes all the powers of the Asmerian spirits by
Avada
dealing damage of
Kedavra, no.
all elements. And all elements can cause all ailments. The coolest thing about this bow, however, is the Asmerian Swarm skill. These are minions that are summoned when you kill enemies. They will pursue all nearby enemies, damaging them and inflicting a debuff on them that boosts your elemental damage even further. Watch as you mow enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time.
Ty, dużo efektów takich kurwa dodali, nie? Tamten kurwa RF, tutaj
The
jakieś
Ordained
wispy.
is a new spear, mastering in physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance too. This spear allows you to leech life not only from physical
Te one
damage,
są
but
wszystkie na
lightning too.
90?
It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent, which is an epic, divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use this skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered, dealing significantly more damage, gaining massive area of effect, and bypassing its cooldown. When
Wind up to
fighting a
ma długi.
boss, let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc, obliterating them.
Dobry damage.
Last, but not least, we have a new
Kopiowanie z
unique
diabłu.
jewel.
Oho.
Voices.
Voices? Ty
Voices
kurwa.
is simple. It consumes 1 jewel slot to add more. There are versions that add 2 jewel slots,
Jak
3 jewel
kurwa?
slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky or rich, one with 4 jewel slots. Equip it and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center.
O kurwa.
One of the things we're
Final
concerned
maxing.
about is how long it takes for experienced
Ale
players to
kurwa,
replay through the game in each new league.
Voices inaczej
As
działają
we
w
learned
PoE
from
1,
Path
czy
of
nie?
Exile 1, one of the things that can really help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go, if you know what to look for.
Jak działają Voices
We'll
w
cover
PoE
just
1?
one example per act for acts 1 to 3, but there are many more than just these. For example, Hunting Grounds in Act 1 is a large, sparse area, containing multiple entrances and landmark encounters. Here's an example of some of the changes we've
Ile
made here.
dawały?
Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult.
W sensie
Now,
passive
after
skille,
completing
nie?
it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil. You may also find corpses of dead animals, killed and pecked at by the crowbell. You'll notice a trail of blood leading away from them. Follow the trail and it will lead directly to the boss.
We even put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Ogham Village.
Oho.
In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks. Just follow them, and it will take you right to their lair, allowing you to find and unlock the Well of Souls. In Act 3, the jungle areas have camps of explorers to sell you items. However, they are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that,
Ten
but it
wand mi się
will also
nowy, kurwa,
reveal it on the
podoba.
minimap, so you can know exactly where to go. These are just some examples. We plan to do more and more of these over time in
Fajnie
order to
do
streamline the experience.
przechodzenia kampanii. Ułatwienia takie lekkie dodają,
Now,
to git.
As this is an endgame expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type. Have a specific map you want to run? Now they will be much easier to find. If there are multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map.
Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex. And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build guides.
We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds.
Wybudowali,
But we
kurwa,
wanted to improve the
buildy do gry.
experience of following
Co
them.
ty gadasz?
So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game client.
Here's how it works. Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format, a build file. Once downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client, and selecting one will show you everything you need to know to make that build. So you can see all the passives you need to allocate, ascendancy points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support gems you need to use as well.
Ja pierdolę, ale to
For
zajebiste, że
items,
sobie
the
możesz
build designer can
zrobić
specify which units to
filtr na
use in each
skill
slot,
gemy.
or if needed, just
Pójdź
add
ten
some
Path
notes to
całą
the item
resztę,
slot
to
to
jest
say what
dosłownie
kind
jako
of item
filtr
you
na
need.
skill gemy to traktujesz, kurwa, i na
In fact,
supporty.
build creators can add notes to just about any of these areas, allowing them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give
Nie,
more
to nie jest
info
dla
about
nowych
how these things
zajebistych.
should be
Stary, no
used.
kurwa, łatwiej ci się levelować będzie.
They can also give level ranges to each element, allowing
Ile razy jest
recommendations to
taka
change
sytuacja,
over time.
że chcesz
Great for
dodać
builds that
support
need
do
to
skilla
reset
i ci się
after they
otwiera,
reach a certain
kurwa,
level.
wiesz, lista 100 supportów, nie? I szukasz,
Now,
kurwa, tego
all of
jednego.
this is
I nie
written in a
pamiętasz, jak on się
standardized
nazywa.
build format that creators can use.
A
And we
tak to
imagine
chcesz
that a
zrobić
lot of community build
przed
tools will be updated
tym.
to add support for
Tak
this
to chcesz
format.
zrobić normalnie, kurwa, filtr
Now that we have
dosłownie.
trade market searching built into the in-game client, we have added the ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item
Ja
will now
pierdolę,
search
wait
for it
and
on the
wait,
trade
wait.
market, showing you the current prices. For
Ja
rare items,
pierdolę.
it's handy to exclude some mods, so we added the ability to enable and disable each mod so you can see what effect each one has on the price. Next up,
kurwa.
we're going to be talking about the new supporter packs for Return of the Ancients.
Ale ugotowali, nie? Ale
Today,
quality
we're
of
launching
life.
two new series of supporter packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
Dawaj, dawaj, pokazuj.
The Blood Reaver series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Seks?
Let blood fuel your bloodshed. The Exsanguinator weapon effect draws the blood of enemies you've slain and funnels it into your weapons.
To tak, potrzebujesz więcej visual cluttera w
Turn the
grze.
appearance of your endurance, frenzy, and power charges into orbiting globules of blood with the Blood Reaver charges. While your charges are active, these blood orbs will grow in size when you absorb more blood from nearby enemies. There are options to have pure blood charges, or charges that still display which kind of charge they are at their core. A taste for blood doesn't negate a taste for style.
A
The
paskudny
elite
set.
Blood Reaver armor features crimson leathers and golden accents to set yourself apart from uncivilized leeches.
Paskudny, kurwa.
It also features a back attachment, fashioned out of the wing of a colossal bat. Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted gargoyle pet. In true gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a stone statue when you are idle, leaping into action when you're on the move again. What good is immortality if you don't have a vast mansion to come home to at the end of the day? The Eternal Blood Reaver supporter pack contains the Blood Reaver Manor
Kurwa,
hideout.
jaki fajny
This
hideout.
exquisite two-story estate features an organ,
O
a
chuj.
grand dining table, and cages for your visitors.
Klatka,
You can
kurwa, dla
alter the
plebs.
walls to create as many or few rooms as you like.
No nie, no, chyba muszę kupić, kurwa, dla wampira, nie?
Last but
Hideout.
not least, the servant of the manor.
Ile to kosztuje?
Eternally bound to the order of the Blood Reavers. This henchman will manage your store, so you can spend more time spilling blood.
Stop that. We won't disappoint you.
Jak kurwa manage store?
If we do, you've our permission to beat us most violently.
The Divinity Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
To seks mówi.
Call on Divinity to aid you in eluding enemy hits.
Ale
with the
10 dolków
Divinity
to jest
dodge roll
chuj
effect.
za tamten.
As you sprint, actual divine lightning wings will form out of your back, leaving a trail of radiance as you engage or escape from combat. For situations that are too dicey, call on the gods above to send down the Storm of Divinity portal to create a safe passage for you to retreat through. Adorn yourself with the Knight
To
of
jak on
Divinity
niby
armor set.
sklep, kurwa,
A
zarządzam po
highly
prostu
revered
z
attire
NPC-em do
only
sklepu,
bestowed
nie?
to those deemed worthy for the
Nic tam nie
divine
robi.
cause. Equipping the Divine Surge character effect empowers you with a storm of divine energy. Using skills causes the storm to burst from your character, spilling raw divinity into the area around you. The Arbiter of Divinity wings are the final piece remaining to emphasize the force divinity has over this realm. This ancient precursor machine was found locked away in a highly guarded vault. Its original purpose is unclear, but it has been altered to fuel your maps using the pure, everlasting divinity within the statue. The pillars surrounding represent how many portals you have left for your map. This map device also tracks your progress
Kurwa,
as
ja
you
mam wrażenie,
complete
że
the
bogatsze były
new
te
Origins of
supporterpaki
Divinity
wcześniej.
storyline. Added this
To
expansion.
więcej rzeczy tam było, kurwa.
Additionally, all microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. On release weekend, we will also be releasing the Return of the Ancients mystery box, which will contain 2 armor sets, a set of map devices for your in-game adventures, a new tracking scroll that records the amount of currency you've gained from the
Yes.
currency exchange or your shop, and much more, like a
Ja
set of
pierdolę
finisher
tracker
effects
currency.
and affinity stashes. That's not all, however. The Fragment Stash tab is finally coming to Path of Exile 2, and with it comes some tabception.
Finally.
Inside this one tab, there's a tab for your various boss key fragments.
Wszystko na boss
There's
sypa.
also a tab for all your precursor tablets,
Yes,
with each type of tablet getting 6 tabs of storage. Finally, there's a tab for your Djinn barriers and inscribed ultimatums,
O,
both of which get their own 6 tabs. That's a lot
nie
of
będą
tabs.
zaśmiecać.
So that's everything in 050. This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to
A
PoE 1
kurwa, to
or
jest
2.
staż, który trzeba
New in-game
kupić, ten nowy?
storylines, pinnacle bosses, crafting systems, items, ascendancy classes, and so much more.
Kurwa,
Now,
ale
because this update
ciekawe
contains
jak
so much in-game
dużo
content,
te nowe
we're doing
supporty zmienią
significantly
i
more
te
testing than
runy.
usual. For that to happen, we're taking a little longer than usual between the announcement and the release. 050 will be released in 3 weeks on May the 29th, with the patch notes being released on the Friday before that, on May 21st.
Okej.
But there's just one more thing to talk about. Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release.
Oho, o
The feedback we've
1.0.
had during early access has been critical for making all the
Nie ma
improvements
nowej
that we'll be
klasy,
making to
nie
the
ma
game.
nowej typy,
At the same
nowej
time,
broni.
we had to create enough in-game content to make an ARPG that can call itself a successor to Path of Exile 1.
No ale flickera
Well,
przywrócą,
with
nie?
050, we now believe we have reached that point. And so this is going to be the last full-size league during early access. That's right. The next big update is going to be 1.0. Now,
O
normally we
kurwa,
would do
na
our next big
grudzień
content
robią.
release in August. But in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one.
Dłuższa
As
liga
big as
będzie.
050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after ExileCon. But that doesn't
Kurwa,
mean we won't be
czyli-
doing updates in the meantime.
Tak jak
In
mówiłem,
this
czekają
final
z
phase, we
strzałami
have
na
a lot of things to
1.0
polish throughout the
jednak.
game and balance to improve. I'm sure there'll also be feedback about the new endgame that we need to incorporate too.
No nie, no
The
na
difference
grudzień
is that the
będą.
focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates. It's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update. Think remixes of existing mechanics or features. And speaking of ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand. ExileCon is a gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase everything we'll be working on for both Path of Exile 1 and 2. And this one will be particularly important for us, since we finally get to unveil some of the coolest content that we've been working on for a while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the in-person event are currently sold out, but don't worry, all the announcements and talks are going to be streamed online for all of you to watch. Now I'm personally so excited for this. This is the year that PoE 2 comes out. The campaign is finally finished. It's been 8 years to get here, but we're finally near the finish line.
Dzięki kaczy za
And with that,
26.
it's time to move on to our live Q&A.
Czyli w tym roku. Nieźle. No dobra. Czyli co? Testują Atlas, tak na logikę. To, co chcą zrobić, to chcą wprowadzić jak największe zmiany do Atlasu, żeby je wytestować przed 1.0. A klasy, bronie i skille po prostu trzymają na, żeby 1.0 był ogromnym update'em, nie? Dla mnie logiczne, kurwa. Dla mnie w pełni logiczne. Zajebiście. Zajebiście. No ciekawy jestem, jak będą wyglądały zmiany w drzewku, czy będą jakieś. Zobaczymy, zobaczymy. No a co? A my zasiadamy do randomizera, nie? Po prostu chyba.